Welcome to Make a Difference with Phil Martelli. He is Phil Martelli. I am Jared Phillips. The college hoop season is in full swing, and we've had a lot of awesome Thanksgiving tournaments coming up. And it's a time to kind of think about what that really means for a lot of these programs, these coaches, these players, these families. But you wanted to focus even on a very micro level of the word Thanksgiving, what that really means, right, in this space.
Yeah, I think that in everything, not just college basketball with Feast Week, and our guest today is going to be like we're giving thanks to our guest today for what she is doing in the Philadelphia community, and I know that she'll focus on the giving part that others have helped her along the way. But I just thought of this Thanksgiving. As Thanksgiving approaches, if you take it down and say thanks, and then the giving part. But thanks is as powerful a word as we have. And we need to spread it. And we need to spread it not just so that that person that we're giving thanks to for whatever they've done, your postman, the people that pick up your trash, pick up your recycling, at the dry cleaner. How about thanking the priest after Mass for giving you that hour of calm? I just think there's so many opportunities to thank people because none of us are here alone. And then when you step back after you've given thanks, watch them because they're going to go do it. It's a reminder every single day to utilize that powerful word of thanks. And then the giving, there's so many things going on, whether it's giving Christmas presents or giving some of your treasure to help others, particularly at this time of the year. And it's really important. And it's a big deal in the Philadelphia community that we have such a giving community. I think that sometimes, and I use in quotation marks, selfishness is okay. Because when you are giving, you're going to end up getting more than you gave. That's not why you do it, but just pay attention. Pay attention. When you go into somebody's home and you think, well, I'm giving them my time. No. You're going to get a lot more. I had an occasion to visit a friend who is battling a real illness. And them thanking me for being there. No, I was there to thank them for all that they have done in helping me be lifted up. Really powerful. Thanks and giving. Words that mean a lot. And we need to put them into action across the board.
Wonderfully, wonderfully said.
As is the Martelli Minute. Phil_Martelli. Somebody questioned me the other day at a gas station about the Martelli Minute. And they hit me with, what's the Instagram? What's it called? A tag? Or I didn't know. I just knew Status Solutions has been so kind to us. What do they bring? Safety technology to our schools. And they've sponsored the Martelli Minute for over a year. StatusSolutions.com. Let's make our kids safe and keep them in a learning environment.
It's at, by the way.
It's at?
Yeah, like they call it your at, like it's at Phil_Martelli.
At Phil_Martelli.
Every morning.
Every morning, 6:30. Allow yourself to pause. It's good for your mind, your heart, and your soul. We all rush around. I got to get to the next thing. Allow yourself to pause. It's good for your heart, your mind, and your soul. As you look in the mirror each morning, how can I improve today? It's beautiful because it applies to every single day that we get up, look in that mirror, and say, how can I improve today? Fear not being alone. Rather, enjoy your own company. Fear not being alone. Rather, enjoy your own company. Kindness, give it away. Remember, it was given to you. So, kindness, it's a gift we get, it's an act we get, and now we give it away just as it was given to us, and it's given to us to spread. Control your use of your time. It's yours. Control it. Your actions reflect your attitude. Many times in the Martelli Minute, we talk about words, no, it's more what you do. Here's another example. Your actions reflect your attitude. The Martelli Minute. Every day. 6:30.
At Phil_Martelli.
And we keep coming up with new ones each and every day.
Impressive. You keep coming up with new ones, honestly. Every day, man.
I do appreciate that. And all of this fits together. The Martelli Minute, the idea of thanks and giving. And now I have chills right now. In prepping for our guest and knowing what our guest is doing in this Philadelphia region, we're going to hit another home run here. And you know why we're going to hit a home run? I want you to take this in. I'm going to take this in. This is not a Martelli Minute, but this is a quote from our guest. Working with a purpose to make an impact. I almost stopped right there as I try to come up with my proper introduction with all these heroes who are making a difference. I almost stopped right there so people can take that in. Working with a purpose to make an impact. A principal in KPMG's healthcare advisory world. Graduate of Drexel, graduate with an MBA from Drexel. So you know what that means. Real Philadelphian right here, right? Real Philadelphian. President and CEO, Independence Mission Schools. From business, an MBA in business, to the president and CEO of a powerful, meaningful educational endeavor. A partner at IMB. Another quote. Every child should have the same opportunity for a quality education that I had at St. Thomas Aquinas Catholic School. And then I took a step back and said, what do I really know about Gianna? And the first word that popped into my head was dignified. Dignified. She has the unique ability to every day work with kings. And she'll talk to us about these kings, these benefactors, these people that are lifting up all of our children while walking with children. Gianna D'Angelo is a superstar in the Make a Difference community. Please welcome her to Make a Difference. Gianna, thank you.
Thank you, Phil. What an introduction. And I've also written down the handles so I can get to that Phil Martelli Minute every morning at 6:30. Looking forward to it.
And you'll appreciate this. I send it to my daughter, who's the mother of 4 and a school teacher teaching 4th grade in Upper Merion. I think she catches it while she drives up the expressway, gets to her school in Bridgeport, and puts that out there.
What a way to start the day. Awesome.
Yeah, it's a effort of love, I would say.
Mhm.
Started at Michigan, and I had to continue it. So I appreciate that. You have a unique story
Mhm.
because you were at the very, very top of business, and now you're in the educational space. Can you just take us through your journey from a young lady at St. Thomas Aquinas?
Sure, I'd be delighted to. So, first of all, thank you again for having me on the show. I'm a big fan, and I've had the pleasure of hearing you talk about saying thanks, and it's made a difference in my life. So, I just wanted to acknowledge that. So, I'm actually an immigrant to this country. I arrived with my parents and my older brother. I was just a little girl, and when you're new to a neighborhood, it's really my parents were new to this country, and you ask around, where do your kids go to school? And everybody in our neighborhood went to St. Thomas Aquinas, so that's where my brother and I went. And it was, I mean, wonderful, a safe and loving environment where people really cared about who you were and wanted to help and make sure, excuse me, that these little kids that we were integrated in, and we did, very well in school because we had people around us who cared. I then went off to Girls High. So I am really a Philly girl. So from South Philly and St. Thomas Aquinas, and what it meant to be at the school where, by the way, our church is the church where Rocky married Adrienne
Wow.
in the movie. Okay.
You don't get that everywhere.
So that's where, that's how old I am. They gave us a half day because they were filming. Anyway, had the pleasure of also going to a magnet school such as Girls High. And that really kind of rounds out a person. We're not just a neighborhood in South Philly, but also now going off to North Philly and learning a lot more about the diversity of the city in which we live, the people from different neighborhoods. And that also, I think, made me a part of who I am today. And then after that, off I went to Drexel University. Didn't go very far for all my education. So off I went to West Philly. And again, a different life experience. And all I knew was that I wanted to be successful. I wanted to have a job that would just, like everyone else, would give us a beautiful future. And my parents were blue collar workers. My mother worked in a shoe factory when Philadelphia still had, it was an important textile manufacturing company. And my father, a highway laborer. The one thing they always instilled in me is the importance of education.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Education is what is going to be a springboard. It's not a guarantee to anything, but education is what builds that, hopefully, lifelong learning, right? The building blocks at St. Thomas Aquinas were the building blocks that then to a successful high school, that were then the building blocks to Drexel University with its awesome co-op program. Again, because I grew up in a neighborhood where you didn't have a lot of people that went off to college at my parents' age, let's say. But everybody always wants what's next, what's best for their kids in the next generation. So that co-op program gave me a great opportunity to test different things out, which was wonderful. And I launched my career at DuPont, did my MBA part-time, and then went off to KPMG because I had a particular skill set in a software package at the time, which is still around ERP, SAP. And it was one of these things where, again, curiosity. What does it mean to be a consultant? Well, it means you're going to work with different clients doing different projects. And for me, it was, again, this insatiable curiosity that I have and this problem solving. So it wasn't about ever doing anything twice. And I just had an incredible opportunity to always just be there to help different clients realize what they were trying to accomplish. And as I grew in that organization, I grew a team. And in growing that team, helped realize what these individuals wanted out of their careers, right? So it's about, what did I get out of this and what can I give to others? How can I help others navigate that very interesting environment in the corporate world? And then, fast forward, I decided to also take an opportunity to leave, and I went to IBM. And when I was at IBM, again, a very different culture than where I came from, a partnership. And I had an opportunity to take an international assignment. People used to say IBM equals I've been moved. Well, I was moved to Italy, where I ran part of their business in Milan for about 4.5 years. And again, my curiosity led me to actually doing work at the Europe level, spent some time, traveling, spent a lot of time in Israel as well. When that assignment was over, came back to Philadelphia, came back home, and went back to KPMG. It was like nostalgia, just a draw to go back. Was there for 5 years, and then COVID hits. And here we are in COVID, and some personal things in my aging parents and family situation. And I was always traveling globally. And there was an opportunity for me to retire. And at the time, it was an early retirement and came a little bit as a shock. Like, do I really want to do this? But I want to be omnipresent because it's all about family. And if I'm not here during this time, then what is it all about? So I decided to do that. And I was telling a friend about who happens to be on the IMS board. And she said, well, what are you planning to do? And I said, I really don't have any plans. She said, well, there's an organization I think could really use your help. So that was Independence Mission Schools. I met with the chairman of the board. And again, I was just saying, I don't know how I can help. My world was large business transformation, helping Fortune 100 companies. Like, what am I going to do for this not-for-profit? And that's where Brian McElwee, one of the founding board members for Independence Mission Schools, and one of those kings that you mentioned, one of those kings, he said, Gianna, nobody's questioning that you could do whatever it is you want to do. But if you want to make a difference in somebody's life, think about coming in and helping out. So as a good consultant, that's what I did. As a consultant, I said, let me come in, look around. The then president and CEO, Bruce Robinson, great guy. He and I worked really well together. And there were things I looked at because I look at the world from people, process, and technology. At the end of the day, no matter what we do, it's always about people, Amen. Right? And it's then what are the people doing? How are they doing it, right? And then it's about how do you help them? What are the enabling technologies or things that you can do so that they can do their work more efficiently, get the most out of it, even personally. So fast forward a year, and I was an interim CFO, COO. Bruce decides he's going to retire. The board starts a national search, and they ask if I want to be considered for the president CEO role. And I was honored. I mean, I really took it as a compliment. And I think about it, and I said, it's a commitment. It's a 5-year commitment, but this is something I want to do. I want to make a difference. I want to give back because these children, these neighborhoods, these are 14 schools that 13 years ago were part of the Archdiocese. And we all know there was a consolidation of parishes and schools, and the Arch did what it had to do. And it was this group of entrepreneurs, including Brian McElwee, Jack Donnelly, God rest his soul, Brian McElwee, and Michael Young and others, who said, no, these schools are to remain open. And they made an agreement with the Arch that Independence Mission School would be created as a not-for-profit, and these schools would remain open. We would run them, IMS. And at the end of the day, we are in those neighborhoods that are underserved neighborhoods. Our children they deserve, because they are bright, they're wonderful. But if these schools weren't there, they would unfortunately go to not some of the best performing public schools in the city. Okay. The families average income is less than $45,000 a year. These are 3,700 kids who do great. I mean, we're about a safe and loving environment with great academics for children to reach their God-given potential. When I look at that, I say, we're K-8. Our responsibility is to get these kids to the best high school they can go to. And we take that very seriously. And business world, I look at outcomes, right? We could talk about test scores and how do they relate nationally. By the way, they're exceeding national averages. But I look at where are they going to high school, and they're going to those top performing high schools in the city. They're going to the archdiocese schools at 58 to 60%. They're going to St. Joe's Prep. They're going to Malvern Prep. They're going to the Sock. They're going to Mercy Tech, Cristo Rey. Where they're not going, 9% are going to the public schools. And last year, Phil, they got over $8 million in scholarships to go to those schools. Over $8 million. Okay. How do we do that? Because there are people, those kings and queens, who give of their time, talent, and treasure. That's how we do it. Because we're a tuition-based program, schools for families where tuition's a challenge, right? But we have opportunities in the state of Pennsylvania, Phil, and you've had blocks on, with the tax credit program. For us, that's oxygen. That's how we survive. 57% is covered by the Pennsylvania tax credit program, the EITC program. So if any of your listeners aren't participating, please do. Please do, because you'll make a difference in a child's life. And then you have people who've come before me, previous presidents, CEOs, I stand on their shoulders.
Yes.
We are now at a level of beyond the startup and the entrepreneurial to really a sustainable model and program, right? Where we focus on our teachers. We focus on bringing in teachers. A lot of them are young, new teachers, and we hone their craft. They become better teachers at IMS, right? So we invest in a great deal of training for our teachers. We invest in our school leaders with a great deal of support and coaching so that, look, we all know the success of our children, regardless of what curriculum is given to them, is really correlated to the teacher. So we focus on the teacher. The teacher's success is really related to the school leader. We focus on the school leader, making sure they have the resources they need. I always say that we do at IMS Central, the central function, we do what we do so that the school leaders could do what they do. We have 14 schools that range from 200 kids in the school to over 500. We're in North Philly, West Philly, one in South Philly, and one you know very well, Phil.
Yes, I was going to say that. We better get a shout out here.
All right, St. Cyril Philomena in Lansdowne. So Phil knows that one very well. That school's doing very well, very well.
And
so Phil, I've said a lot. I don't know if that's.
It's. I have chills. I want to do the macro picture. Education in Philadelphia today, like IMS has a place that the blocks contributing to the archdiocesan high schools and the grade school. You drive around and there's a vibrancy in our schools, but over the macro view, education in Philadelphia today, and then Gianna, where will it be tomorrow?
Well, education today, we have a mayor who's very focused on education. All right. She's trying to do things around extended day, extended year, because there's a recognition that our kids need that, our families need that. We're much smaller, obviously, than the school district. And we look at that and say, for us to really be at a point where we're serving the community best, we have to provide things that go beyond the school day. So we've actually launched something called Beyond the Bell. It's a program, and everything we do, I take an approach. I have 14 schools. That's 14 labs. Let's try something. Let's pilot it. Let's see if it works. Take the data in, adjust as necessary, tweak it, and then roll it out to the rest of the network. So we're now at 7 of our schools. thank you to two very generous donors who've allowed us to get that started. So it's about serving the community beyond the school day, because we know through a study that was done I think now we're at year 2, Elevate 215, a lot of children were being kept home. There's a lot of homeschooling. After COVID, a lot of the kids didn't go back into the classroom. Why? Well, if we look at the survey data that came out, safety was the number one concern of families. Curriculum, instruction, that came in second. They care about the learning, but they were concerned about the safety. Not just the safety of getting to school. A lot of them are dropped off. Some are on buses. Very few kids are walking to school, but they were concerned about their kids in school. So we actually had the highest growing number nationwide of kids being homeschooled, right? Which that's great. It works well for some families. But when I think about, the social and emotional learning, the things that happen beyond the academics, right? There's ways you can perhaps try to do that, but we'll see. Only the future will tell. Only the future will tell. Because what we're also doing is you're preparing the future workforce, right, of the Philadelphia and area around Philadelphia. And I know as K-8, I'm thinking about that. Well, yes, I am. Because when our kids are looking to, where are they going to high school, there's a resurgence of trade and vocational schools back in the city, which I think is great, because we need all sorts of people, right? I know for me, my house, trying to get an electrician, a plumber, a carpenter is quite a challenge. There's less and less, and these are great, sustainable jobs, all right? Great for families. And of course, we have great universities. So I think there's a focus on education, perhaps, not that there wasn't a focus before, but there is definitely a shift. There's definitely a shift of education to also looking at things because even for the children that are going to the VOTEC schools, there are also university options after that, right? You can even go into the trades and then, go into university or go to community college, because many of these end up in their own businesses, right? So I see a huge shift that's happening in education for us in the Philadelphia area.
My next segment focuses on you, but I'm going to say it this way to Jared. As you've paid attention here, right? Never the word I, never the word me. So the we. Brag about your staff, and yeah, that your leadership style is a collaborative effort. This is obvious, and it's so calm. Like I actually could fall asleep just because there's a calmness here in a and you can't imagine, like 14 schools and all these moving parts and teachers and administrators. But it's clear you're not alone. Brag about your staff for us, please.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you mentioned my leadership style, and I believe that you put people around you that know what they're doing. I don't want clones of me. I want people who complement. Perhaps, my staff keeps telling me I'm not allowed to say that I'm not an academic right now that I've been in this world for a few years. But I do know that I need people that are experts in their field. So I have an outstanding chief of schools, Jill Valunas, who's really taken the helm for everything we're trying to do from academic excellence. I have an incredible chief of staff, Beth Alfonsi, who basically oversees, if you look at it from the internal world of IMS, so that's HR, that's finance and accounting, IT, facilities, enrollment. For us, enrollment is king. Those are the areas that falls under our operations that Beth Alfonsi runs. And then, if enrollment is king, I always say advancement is queen. So I have an incredible chief advancement officer in Erin Woolley. And this is a team we've put together, and she's recently built out that team. Because as I said, from a tax credit perspective, that's 57%. You have a small percentage that our families pay. And then the rest of it is philanthropy. It's philanthropy. So I have people who are giving time, talent, and treasure even on the advancement side. So I believe in putting people in their roles and trusting that they are going to do their job. I set the network direction, what the goals are in each of the areas. I set my goals with the board. Then I have my team, and they know what the network goals are of growing, enrollment 2%, what the advancement goal is that we need to bring in from tax credits as well as philanthropy, what the academic goals are. Then I get out of their way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I am there to remove barriers or to insulate them from external noise as needed. I trust people to go do their job. I don't believe in micromanaging. However, they all know I don't like surprises. Don't surprise me with good news. My family will tell you I don't like surprise parties. I don't like surprises. Something's going off the rails. Tell me. Something is an issue, burning. Tell me. I will always be there to support, insulate them if I need to, or get out of the way. And the message has gotten out. People had to learn to trust somebody who was not an academic. They had to learn, and they only can trust by behavior. They can't just, yes, the words were there. You can trust me. I'm here for you. I'm here to support you. I make the rounds. I go to all the schools.
Yes, you do.
So this afternoon, well, actually today, I'll be at 2 of the schools, and I sit down with the principal. All right. And it's like, I'm here to help support you. You tell me what you need, and I'll do my best to get that. And I had this one call from, I'll tell you this one story, Phil, because to me, it's when I was like, it resonates. They get it. I got a call from one of our largest schools, school leader. He's outstanding, Nick Huck. And there was a situation at the school. Kids are kids. Something happened when 2 kids. There was an investigation, and children were both sent home, but not suspended, right? They were given whatever instruction. That came back the next day. The letters went home to the parents. One parent completely understood. The other said, why hasn't the other child been expelled? And Nick said, well, we have an approach to restorative, right? We're social emotional learning. There is a restorative practice, not a punitive practice. Given what happened was not an egregious thing. It was just kids being kids. And I happened to have met this parent at an event, and I'd given that parent my business card. That parent said to the school leader, I have your president and CEO's business card. Should I call her? And he said, if she gave you her card, please do. What did he do next? He called me and said, heads up, you may be getting a call. Let me give you what the situation was. Let me tell you what the investigation found. And that's it. And I said, thank you very much. Just know that I am here. I will listen. But my going in position is I trust you and what your team has done. I will listen. I will listen. And if I need to, I'll come back to you. But I trust and support you. I never got the phone call from the parent. But it meant a lot to me that he called and he told me what the situation was. He wasn't trying to hide it. And to me, it was like, okay, I think I'm making a difference.
You've mentioned it a couple of times. And I have been in the room. I've been in your presence. I've been with some of these benefactors. But can you profile what does a benefactor look like? Are they Philadelphians who are giving back to their old neighborhood? Are they so connected with the educational process? That's what does a benefactor look like?
So
And I read your report, like you encourage a $10 benefactor as much as is a $10,000 benefactor.
absolutely. And Phil, we have a wonderful mix of people that are generous to us. So there are many people, such as myself, who it's a way of giving back to the community they came from, the school that they came from. They grew up in that neighborhood, or some had a sibling who was a teacher in the schools. Then you have people that are just believe in school choice. They believe in allowing families to make a choice for their schools, and this is a way to do it. And if we didn't exist, you take a choice away from a family as to where they can go. So there's some people, it's about school choice. They really want the option. And then there are people who are just really believe in Catholic school education. And if we were gone, that's 14 less Catholic schools for these families to choose from. And we have, there are envelopes that come in with a handwritten note and a $10 bill. And there are checks that come in with a lot of zeros. And I have to tell you, I send the same thank you card to both because they both make an impact relative to the person who's sending it. And that's what matters.
And you are a master at personalized communication. I'm here to salute you for that.
Well,
I
thank you.
I can't tell you how much you've touched me with just a small thing that I would do, a spelling bee, and all of a sudden I get a note. It's a unique style, and it makes you like on this Mount Rushmore of Philadelphia education. I appreciate it. You actually jumped me on one of my questions. I think that you looked at my pad that I wrote out this morning, and here was going to be the question. You've kind of filled us in right now. The kid, the family, the school, the teacher who motivates you every single day. What's that story that it could be a kid, a family that just maybe they really have stayed home since COVID, but because of IMS, the teacher or that administrator who motivates you every day?
Well, Phil, I can say that I'm very fortunate that almost every day, because I'm in different places, but I walk into a school. My office is on the third floor of St. Malachy at 11th and Girard. And my favorite thing is I'm walking in when the littles, as I call them, so that kindergarten, first grade, second grade that are on that first floor, they're lined up to go in the classroom or out to recess. And how could you just not smile to see those wonderful little kids, and they wave and they say hello, and it's just, there's not just one of them, it's all of them. It's all of them. It's outstanding. It really is. And then the school leaders, I can't tell you, each school has a school leader that is just so in tune and aligned to what's happening at that school and that community, right? So whether it's Colleen McKenzie in Germantown and what they're doing at DePaul and just the outstanding program that they do there. I mentioned Nick Huck. I'm going out to St. Martin de Porres today, and they have one of the things that a lot of these schools have is a peace program, right? That's something we do network wide, and we have something called a peace room. And this is really, they're tailored to each of the schools, and it reflects not only the school leader, but the kids and the teachers that are involved in it, because we believe, again, in that restorative practice. So the peace program is something where children can self-regulate, and you can go for 15 minutes and there's an exercise bike, or there's a bean bag that you could sit on, and there's always a teacher or a counselor there. So for the little, somebody who's having a tough time, it's not a punishment place. It's not even a timeout. It's just a place to kind of, compose yourself. And for the older kids, they take it as a great opportunity. Maybe they need a minute, a place to just think creatively for a few minutes. And that's why each of these schools that I go into, it just gives you the energy to do the work, because the work is challenging. The work, it's different than the work I used to do, but it's still very challenging work. So that's what makes a difference.
And then we always end our segment with this question. Who's made a difference in your life?
Oh my goodness, that's a really long, long list. From, Sister Ruth at St. Thomas Aquinas, one, people that I've worked with, but without getting too sentimental, I would say the center, the core, the cornerstone, whatever word you can want to use, my mother.
Mm-hmm.
My mother picked up two little kids and convinced her husband to come to a different country for the opportunity for them, but mostly for their children. And whatever obstacle was thrown in her way with, the shutdown of the factories in Philadelphia, and her really reinventing herself, and my dad getting sick when he was 55, he's 83 now, and her just has always been the primary caregiver of the entire family and has basically kept him alive. The matriarch, the person who always centered me when I was bouncing around the world with my job, and she was always the center. Once I came home, I had that balance again. So without getting too sentimental, I would have to be mom.
Wow. Well, Jared's going to fill you in on the scorecard, but we've done 55 shows.
This is 59.
59 shows. Mom's won 52 of the 59. So we understand. We appreciate it. And please, this is me to you. I'm with you. Call, text, if there's a way that I can help. And I'm really fascinated with this idea of the growth of our teachers, because I do think that they are so essential on the front line.
Yeah.
I'm with you. And
Thank you.
I couldn't wait to have you join us. It took us over a year to get it all together. But thank you. And again, hit us one more time with how the people with the tax credit program, how can they help?
They can help by calling us or going to our website, ims@phila.org, or through Blocks for your tax credit dollars to IMS.
Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you. And happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. You also.
Thanks, Gianna.
Bye.
Moms always win.
Moms always win. Moms always win. But the shout out to teachers, to administrators, and that whole idea of the we, not the me, really, really powerful. Powerful for all of our people watching, our business leaders, our students that watch. We're starting to get a lot of feedback from students that check in, and we want to continue to have that presence.
I think it's very it's just fascinating from her background to then go into a school environment. I thought it was really perfect how you put her calm when
Yes.
It's controlled chaos every single day, right?
Sure.
And she just has to have that guiding hand of you walk into the world of the DuPonts and the consulting, all these things, and it's it's very buttoned up, it's very but then you go into just the chaos that could be
third grader.
Yeah. Every day is going to be something new with
Right.
with
Everybody in those schools has something going on.
Yeah.
And to kind of balance that out is remarkable. She is absolutely a remarkable leader. Talk about being in the right place, the educational space right now. Beautiful. But I want to flip it a little bit. Like president, CEO. But you know what she is? She's a coach. So Coach's Corner, today I want to focus on self-evaluation. In the basketball world, It's film study. And when you look at it, you think, what happened? Why did it happen? How do we correct it, improve it? A lot of times when people watch film, or even when we're involved in a project in an educational space, in a workspace, we're always trying to go back. No, no, no. Self-evaluation is about going forward. When did it happen? Did it happen the Tuesday before Thanksgiving? Is that different than the vibe you would get on a summer day? In a basketball game, what was the time? What was the score? How did we react as a staff? How did the players react? Where was the game? Were you at home or away? Where in your schedule did it fit? Right? Is there a perceived big game and then another big game, and then they call that the trap game? Does same thing happens in business? It's a gift. It's a gift to be able to self-evaluate. Oftentimes we watch to see how we look, but the gift is to step back and say, how did I perform? And how do I improve? So self-evaluation for all of our coaches out there, make sure that you're teaching your players how to self-evaluate, to honestly self-evaluate. To our business leaders, your employees, self-evaluation on how we put self-evaluation as a positive tool to being better tomorrow, because you can't stay the same.
I'm fascinated to see or hear what that might look like for a player. When you have these exceptional athletes stepping up to the next level who are told that they're the best all of the time at every level that they're at, they get to college and you have to explain to some guy who's like a 5-star, hey, you have to work on this. You have to improve it. And
Must be visual, right? In today's world, visual learning, it must be visual. And as they do it, they've had a trainer. They've had coaches growing up. They've been the best player on their team. When you get them, you have to teach them how to watch film. We could watch film and we would be looking for the spectacular or the, oh, did you see that? But if you take them and you do a microcosm of it and say, look at his body language on the bench, they would not look unless you bring it up. So in today's world, everything's on film. Everything you say is forever. So that's another way of do I really want to be portrayed this way? Right? On TikTok or a video that's out there about you. So you make a really great point in that teaching is not criticizing. Teaching is helping them learn. Brilliant point by you, though, because you do have players that have for so long been able to, well, I can just do. Now they have to see and sometimes change. And that's not easy. That's not easy. But the same is true of our employees. And we want to make sure that self-evaluation becomes a part of everybody's kind of daily routine. You never stay the same. You either get better or you get worse. There is no ride the wave. You have to improve.
speaking of daily routines,
Wow. We're actually changing this up a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm only going to give you a highlight
Mhm.
of where I've been, because where I'm going is there's some travel involved and some games to be seen, but a highlight with a lot of great things that happened is the Kingsway athletic staff, AD June Schifa invited me in to speak to 80 coaches. And as you think about it, in that group was a coach that had just won a field hockey state championship, a coach getting his football team ready to play in the state semifinal, and all of these conference champions. And as I said to June, starting it off, how in the hell am I supposed to help this group? You have the most number of athletes in South Jersey at Kingsway Regional. To be invited there and to spend time, it's exactly what you talk about at the end of the show. If there's a way that somebody could reach out, they reached out asking if I could make a difference. And I was delighted to join them. Not as much what I gave them, but what they gave me, with the excitement and the enthusiasm of seasons that have ended, players that they've impacted, students whose lives they've changed just a little bit. Thank you to everybody at Kingsway for that remarkable opportunity.
So that's what you had going on, but what's
what's
down the pipeline here? Because I know there's.
Well, I have to ask your advice because you are the podcast guru here. I have been asked to do a podcast with the Philly Fanatic. The Philly Fanatic is hosting a podcast. Daunting?
How does that work?
I am not exactly sure, but that's where I'm going.
It sounds like you're going solo, and there's going to be a lot of antics involved.
Yeah. Well, I'm good with antics.
That sounds like a lot of fun, though.
And then the National Electrical Contractors Association has asked me to come in and give a talk on leadership. Looking forward to that.
Not a talk on like kind of how to set up a box or anything like that.
Not that's not part of this.
You're not doing any rewiring.
I'm not rewiring anything. And then coming up is a really, really special day. 49th wedding anniversary. November 20, 1976. 49 years later, still in there. So to Judy, thank you. Thank you for joining me on this journey. And 49 in the books. Let's go get 50. That's the way we're looking at it.
Congratulations.
I will head to ODU to see Old Dominion play Morgan State in a preparation for an Old Dominion game that I'm doing next week at Villanova. I like to get my eyes on the team. I won't be able to get to practice, so I'm going to stop at their game. Coppin State at VCU. Prep for ODU at Villanova. Head back home. And prepping for a really another exciting with high school coaches as our guest on next week's podcast. So,
and we're taking the show on the road with that one.
We are taking the show on the road, and people will be surprised. But we thank our host at our show when we'll announce that next. Is that Tuesday or Wednesday?
It's Tuesday.
Next Tuesday. We're looking forward to it. And thank you to all of the people.
Keeping that one under wraps till we get there.
Well, we just want to make sure. I mean, we don't want to. What if something happens?
What if we get there and they kick us out?
Yeah, they don't let us in. But yeah, looking forward to it, and we hope everyone's making family preparations because Thanksgiving is coming, and it is a big, big family time, and we hope that Make a Difference can be part of your Thanksgiving celebrations.
This will be our episode leading into Thanksgiving, and I think we touched on this last year, right? It's turkey's one for you. That's the bird is
no question.
Yeah, the go-to. I would say that's
you have an unusual slant.
Well, that's a traditional pick, and I get it. It's just I think that stuffing is just like kind of unbeatable, and it's the only time you can have turkey. Like I know it's the prize bird at that at this moment. But stuffing, and when else do you get stuffing? I don't know. Like that's just always been the fun. This like I could eat like a full plate of stuffing, I think, and not be stuffed.
Well, I think it's sensational that you're talking the prized bird being turkey, when usually the prized bird for you is Jalen Hurts.
Should we get into that?
We are not. We will seek out a guest that will come at it with a little bit more of a rational point of view, not the irrational point of view that a 700 level fan like you would have.
I think that I'm the rational one here. I just got to say, my 2 cents is there's only in Philadelphia is there criticism surrounding your Super Bowl MVP quarterback in the midst of an 8-2 season because of like 2 kind of meh games after he had like 6 touchdowns over 2 games 4 weeks prior. Like I can't even wrap my head around it.
I also have this number in my mind, and I do laugh. They're 24-3 in their last 27 games. 24-3, including dismantling a number of teams in the playoffs. NFL. This is the NFL. 24-3. And there is a segment of the population that would be, well, we know the coach, that was last year. And now we have a quarterback controversy in Philadelphia. Please.
It's only in 31 other cities are staring at us like, are you insane?
Well, yes, they
you look like you get a repeat. We just beat every competitor we have in the NFC, and it doesn't matter because we aren't just demolishing every team 56-0 So all right, that's all I got. Yeah,
hoops.
Sorry,
hoops.
It's early on the hoop spectrum, so I'm trying to dial back and get into hoops mode because the football is just all consuming still, especially around Thanksgiving.
And if I know you're going to go into where they can find us, if I could make a request, if you have a thought on a guest, we're talking January 1 on now. We want, very much like Gianna, making a difference. Who is it? Who don't we know about? And we are researching. And the new year is going to be better. Why? Self-evaluation. We want to be better. And one of the ways is you can help us. Send us a note about it. One person, one organization. We'll reach out. And how do they reach out to us?
We got a couple interesting potential guests down the pipeline here that we'll get together behind closed doors about soon here. But if you are looking to get in touch with Phil and help him make a difference, like he has many times here in the classroom, out of the classroom, on the court, off the court, in the workplace, outside of the workplace, head on over to pnjmakeadifference.com. We are at Make a Difference Pod on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. We are at Make a Diff Pod on X. Make a Difference with Phil Martelli on Facebook. If you're watching on YouTube, feel free to like and subscribe. And if you are on Spotify, Apple, wherever you're getting your podcast, go ahead and give us that 5-star rating. If you're looking for the Martelli Minute, as always, every morning, 6:30 at Phil_Martelli on Instagram. And we can hold him to that because that's exactly where it is. Well, what do we get? Go Birds, go Rams? Am I missing anybody?
No, we need to do that tax credit program.
Yeah.
For IMS schools, for blocks. Powerful. EITC.
Mm-hmm. We've talked about it many times on the show. It's the way folks can help give the youth a great opportunity.
Tax money is just assigned. You don't have to even write an extra check.
That's right.
Pretty impressive. But we have to go with Go Birds. Go Rams.
Go Rams.